Okay, so as you can see here, we have two parts mainly. Part 1, multiple choice question, and part 2, problem solving question. And here you can see the first one, Python based one, and you can see a normalization question. And the third question, it is an SQL based question. Okay, and then there will be short questions like this, theoretical questions, so they can ask a few theoretical questions also. Okay, so we will start with Python question. Okay, so here what will be the output of the following snippets of Python code? You have to write the output. Write down the exact output, including all brackets, parentheses, braces, quotes, and commas. So whenever you write the output, you have to use all these things. Otherwise, you will be deducted marks. Okay, so make sure that you are including brackets, commas, quotations, etc. Okay. So here they provided a list. The name of the list is X, and here you can see these are the values of the list, and here they are asking you to print X. What will be the output? As you can see here, the list will be printed. So just note that if it is just a print statement, all the elements will be printed in the same line. So you can see all the elements are printed on the same line. You have to use the square bracket, and after each element you need to include the comma. Now look at the next statement. For a in X, print plus plus a. Okay, so it is a for each statement, and here you can see we used a pre-increment operator. Okay, so just note that in Python we don't have pre-increment operator. Okay, so Python will consider this as the same as a. Okay, inside the bracket we wrote plus plus a. It is pre-increment operator, but in Python there is no pre-increment and no post-increment. So it is the same as a, because it will ignore these operators. Plus plus will be ignored, or if it is postfix, uh, it will be ignored. So it will be considered as the same as a. So it is a for each statement. Because it is a for each statement, each element will be printed in a separate line. Okay, so that's why here you can see 7, 8, 28, 6, 89, and 102. So all the elements printed one after the other. Now look at the next print statement. Print x of 0 plus 1 minus 2. So it is the same as x 0 plus 1, 1, 1 minus 2. That means minus 1. Okay, x of minus 1. So x of minus 1 means that the last element of the list. So this is the last element. So it will print that last element. Okay, clear?
Clear.
Yes, clear.
Okay, then we have one more print statement here, a plus 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 3. So a plus plus, it is the post increment operator. So as I told you before, there is no pre-increment and there is no post increment operator in Python. So a plus plus, it is the same as a. It will consider a plus plus as a. Then there is one more plus, and a plus 3. Okay, so here what is the value of a? That means before we used a in this for each statement. So a refer the last element in the list. So the last element is 102. So here a, it will refer that element. Okay, so that will be 102 plus 3. So that will be 105. Okay, so that's why the output is 105. Clear?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
now we have, yes, any question?
Clear. No, no, clear.
Okay, now x equals x plus, then there is another list. That list contains Egypt and Jordan. So this list will be joined with X. If you use plus operator, here you can see there are two lists. So these two lists will be joined together. And they wrote a print statement X of 5 plus 0. That means X of 5. So what is the list now? Here all the elements of this list plus we have two more elements, that is Egypt and Jordan. Okay, so this is our list now. So which is the element at index 5? So 7 is at the index 0, 8 index 1, 28, 2, 6, 3, 89, 4 and 102. It is the fifth element or the element at index 5. So that element will be printed. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now we will move to the next question. Here there is a function definition. You already learned how to define a function. So we use the keyword def to represent that this is a function, and the name of the function is my function, and there is an argument for the function. The argument is kids, and kids is preceded by a star operator. What is the meaning of star is that it represents arbitrary arguments. It can have any number of arguments. The function can have any number of arguments. Okay. Then what we wrote within the function, print the youngest child is, it will print the text the youngest child is, then it will join with this value. That means here there is an argument. So the argument can be a list or it can be a dictionary. So from that list, it will take the element. Here you can see they mentioned the index like this, kids of 0 plus 0 plus 1. So which means that kids of 1. That means the element stored at index 1. So it can, the argument of the function can be a list or it can be a tuple or it can be a set, whatever, it will get the element from index 1. Okay. Now, we have one more function here. This is the first function and this is the second function. So here the name of the function is my function 1. And here again we have an argument kids1, and it is also preceded by star, which means that the argument can be any number of arguments. Then what it prints? It prints the youngest child is, and here you can see it is kids1 of 0 plus 1 plus 1, which means that kids 1, that means it will take the element at index 1, then we will add 1 to that element. Okay, so this is the statement which is written in my function 1. Okay, so we see the function definitions of two function. Now we are calling the function. So we call the function my function, and here you can see there are 3 arguments. Okay, so when we define the function, we wrote just one argument, but it is preceded by star, which means that when we call the function, there can be multiple arguments. Okay, so what will be the output? Here inside my function, what we are printing? Kids of 1. That means the element at index 1. So what is the element at index 1 here?
Tobias.
Tobias. Okay. So here, when we call this function, it will come here, and here you can see kids is replaced by these 3 arguments, and here it will print the youngest child is, and then it will print kids of 1. So the youngest child is, the element at index 1 is Tobias, so it will print the youngest child is Tobias. Do you understand?
Yes.
For all of you?
Yes.
Okay, look at
Yes.
the next function call here. My function, then the arguments are 5, 7, 9. What will be the output? The output is
7.
7. Here again we are calling the same function, my function, not my function 1. So again it will go here and it will print the youngest child is and kids 1. So it printed youngest child is, the element at index 1, 7 is the element at index 1. So it will print 7. Clear?
Yes, clear.
Yes.
For all of you? Okay. Now we have the next question. Okay. Cars. It is the list, and the name of the list is cars, and the elements are Ford, Volvo, BMW. Okay. And here we are using some methods like pop, remove, append, and so on. So what is meant by pop? Pop, it will return, or it will remove and return an element from the list. So here we specified the index. So it will remove the element from index 1 and it will return that element. Okay. If you did not specify the index for the pop method, then it will remove and return the last element from the list. Okay. So there are two options for the pop method. Either you can specify the index or you can leave the index as empty. So if you specify the index, the element from that index will be removed and returned. If you did not specify the index, the last element will be removed and returned. Okay. So what will happen? Cars dot pop of 1. So the element at index 1 will be removed. Which element will be removed from the list?
Volvo.
Volvo, because this is the element at index 1, so that element will be removed from the list. Okay, so now what are the elements we have in the list? Cars, Ford and BMW, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, now we can see another statement, cars dot remove BMW. So if you use remove method, then the argument of the remove method is BMW, so that element will be deleted from the list. So here BMW will also be deleted from the list. Then we wrote a print statement, print cars. We are asking to print the list. What will be the output?
Fourth.
Ford.
Fourth.
Now we have only one element in the list, so the element Ford will be printed. Okay. Now here we have an append method. You all know by append we can add an element to the end of the list. So now Toyota will be added at the end of the list. So this is the current list. And here again cars.pop1. So which element will be deleted?
Fourth.
Toyota.
Toyota, sorry.
Yes, because Toyota is at index 1, so that will be deleted. So now we have only one element in the list, that is Ford. Okay, so now print cars. So it will print Ford.
Fourth.
Okay, so here you can see this is the output for two print statement. Here there is a print statement, here there is another print statement. So in for both print statement, the output will be Ford. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, now we have the next question. Here we have a list X and the elements are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And here they are asking you to print element at 0 index and element at index minus 1. You know, X of 0 means that 1, X of minus 1 means that the last element. Okay, so it will print 1 and 1. Okay. Then here, look at the second print statement, x of 1, that means element at index 1, that is 1. Then x of minus 2. X of minus 2 means that the second last element. So it will print 1 and 4. Then here they are checking whether these elements are same. So x of
Sorry,
0,
doctor. One or two? The print X at element one. Yes, this one.
what this one?
Yeah.
Uh,
X1 and 4 or 2 and 4.
x of 1 means that element at index 1, yes, it is 2. This is what you mean?
Yes.
Ah, okay. Thank you. So
Welcome.
element at index 1 and here x of minus 2 means that element, the second last element. Okay. So second last element is 4. Here we are checking these elements are same or not. So x of 0, that is the first element. The first element is 1 and we are checking with the x of minus 1. X of minus 1 again 1. So they are same. So if they are same,
True.
what will be the output? True. Okay, so you need to write here if you use a comparison operator, you need to write either true or false. Don't write 1 equal equal 1 because previously the students written like that 1 and 1. No, you need to write either true or false. Okay, if they are same, write true. If they are different, you have to write false. Okay. Clear?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
clear.
Now we are defining a class called person, okay, and here we are defining an init function. So this init function, in order to initialize the object of this class, okay, so you all know we define classes and then we create object for a class, and then by using the object we can initialize the variables of the class. Okay, so look, here we have a class called person, and in this class we have two variables. Let's say the name of the person and age of the person. So we need to initialize these two variables. So to initialize these two variables, we are using the init method. Okay, so look at the init method. This is the definition of this function, and here there are three arguments. Yes, I will upload on LMS. So here you can see self, it represents the object itself. Then name is the next argument and age is the next argument. Okay. Then here you can see the name of the object, that will be the value of the second argument of this function. And age of the object, that will be the third argument of this function. Okay. So here look at the statement. This is how we are creating the objects and we are calling the init function. Okay, so the object name is P1. So P1 equal to person. Then we passed the name and also we passed the age, which means that the name of P1 will be John and age of P1 will be 36. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Now we have two print statements. So we need to write the output of these two print statements. Here you can see p1.name, then we joined the name with the character A or with the string A. Okay. So here you can see what is the name. The name
John
is John,
John.
and John will be joined with the
plus
character
A.
A. Yeah. So the output will be John A. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Look, the next print statement, print p1.age. What is age?
36.
36. And here you can see 36 minus 2. So 36 minus 2 will become minus 24. Okay. So that will be the age. So what it will print? First it will print John A. Then it will print minus 24. Sorry, not minus 24, plus 24. 36 minus 12 is 24. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Is it clear for all of you?
Yes.
Yes, clear.
Okay. But now we will move to the normalization question. Actually, it's a little bit long. You need to practice a lot of normalization questions. Then only you can solve it within the short time. So we will start now. Look here, consider the following passenger report. The first part of the report contains details of the flight and pilot. So the first part, it contains the details of the flight and details of the pilot. The second part of the report contains the details of the passengers. Okay, so here in this report, you can get the details of the flight, the details of the pilot, and the details of the passengers. The question is, normalize the report into 0NF, that is the unnormalized form. So either they can ask you 0NF or they can ask you UNF. So both are the same. Okay, then 1NF, 2NF, and 3NF. Show the complete relation with the given data in each normal form. So when you normalize the report into 0NF or 1NF or 2NF or 3NF, you need to draw the table and then you need to put the values inside the table. Now, if you don't have time to draw the table, just write the column heading. Let's say column 1, column 2, column 3. And here you can write the values. Let's say P1, P2, P3, like that. No need to draw the outline, okay, like this, if you don't have time. But you have to provide the column headings and you have to provide the column values. And also you have to write the name of each table. Let's say table 1, table 2, and so on. Okay. Now, here this is the report. Here, as you can see here, the flight ID is OM234, then pilot ID is 345, and pilot name is Jack. Origin is Muscat, and destination is Bahrain. So this is the first part of the report. There you can see the flight details, the pilot details, origin airport and destination airport. Then this is the second part. Here you can see the passenger ID, the passenger name, the passenger nationality, and the seat number. Okay. Now here they provided a note. Seat number, it depends on flight ID and passenger ID. Okay. So this is a functional dependency. So how we write here, we need to write flight ID, comma, passenger ID determines seat number. So if you write like this, it is a functional dependency, and we can say that seat number is dependent on both flight ID and passenger ID. Okay. So this functional dependency they provided. So whenever you decide the normal forms, we need to consider this dependency also. Okay. So this is the first part of the question. And the second part, write suitable table names resulting in 3NF and list the primary keys and foreign keys of all the tables in 3NF in the following format. So here you, for the third normal form, that is the last step, whatever tables you got, you need to write the name of each table, and for each table you need to write the primary key, and also you have to write the foreign key if there are foreign key. That is the second question. Okay. So now we are going to convert this report into 0NF or UNF. Okay. So for that, 1 minute. Okay. So here. The first column, let's say flight ID. I will use the short form, so we can save time. Flight ID. Then here you need to write pilot ID. Then here you need to write pilot name. Then here you have to write origin airport, origin. And then here you need to write destination airport. Then you need to write the next column names, let's say passenger ID, passenger ID. Okay, we'll make the table. Passenger name. Then here you have to write passenger nationality, and we have the seat number. So this is our table. So it's a large table. Then you need to make this as the column heading and write the details also. Okay. So what is the flight ID? Flight ID is
2, 3,
4.
4.
Then pilot ID 345. Pilot name Jack. And origin airport Muscat. Destination airport Bahrain. And passenger ID, we have 3 passengers, so PR1. Then his name is Muhammad, and passenger nationality Oman, and the seat number 12A. So this is the first column. Like that you can write the second column. So here, how many values of flight ID is there? Only one value. So for all the passengers, the flight ID is same. Yes, so OM234. Then pilot ID, again it is the same, 345. Then pilot name, it is the same, Jack. Origin airport, Muscat. Destination airport, Bahrain. So for for all the passengers, these details are the same. Okay, because here in the first part of the report, we have only one value for flight ID, pilot name, origin airport, and destination airport. Okay, so passenger ID. Here you can see the next passenger ID is PR5. So here you have to write this is PR5, and his name is Said, and he is Bahrain, his nationality is Bahrain, his seat number is 13E. Like that, we can write the next passenger also. So the same OM234, then pilot ID 345, the passenger name Jack, then origin Muscat, destination Bahrain, passenger ID is PR6, then passenger name is Mariam, then the passenger nationality again Bahrain, and the seat number is 13F. So this is the normal form in 0NF, or we can say that this is the table in unnormalized representation. Do you understand how you can make a report into a tabular structure?
Yes. Yes. Sir.
Yes.
Okay, so what is meant by 0NF or what is meant by UNF is that if whatever data given, you need to include the data in a tabular structure or within a table. So whenever you create a table, each column must have only one value. So if you take any column, each column has only one value. So if you are writing like that, we can say that that table is in 0NF or in UNF. Okay, clear?
Clear, ma'am.
Yes.
Doctor, in the exam, can we write it in the short form as how you wrote them?
It is not acceptable, but if you don't have time, and it should be clear. For example, here I have PID, and here also we have PID. So if you write like that, it will be complicated. So you have to distinguish. Here you need to write this is pilot ID. Here you need to write PASID, that is passenger ID. So like that you can write, no matter.
So we
Okay.
will lose marks, or we will get the full mark even if we wrote it like that, if it was clear.
If it is clear, yeah, of course you will get full mark. Don't worry. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so here you can see the complete table more clear way. So all the column or column headings are there, all the values are there. Now we need to convert the table into 1NF, okay, or first normal form. So what is meant by first normal form is that we must have a primary key, okay. So in order to convert the 0NF into 1NF, you need to check whether we have repeating values, okay. So here if you look at this table, here you can see these values are repeated. This is the first row, and this is the second row, and this is the third row. So all the values are repeated. Flight ID is repeated, pilot ID is repeated, pilot name is repeated, origin airport is repeated, and destination is repeated. So what we are going to do, we need to remove these columns from this table to make the table into 1NF. So if you want to convert 0NF into 1NF, check whether there are repeating values. So those columns need to be separated, or those columns need to be removed from that original table. Okay. So what are the columns that we need to remove? These columns.
The first part.
Yes, the first 4 columns. Flight ID, pilot ID, pilot name, origin airport, and destination airport. This is what you can see here. These columns made one table. Okay, and here we took flight ID as the primary key. So to indicate this as the primary key, you need to underline it. So flight ID is underlined, which means that this is the primary key of this table. Okay, if you look at this table, we have only one row. So we can say that none of the values are repeating. So if there is a primary key, each column has single value and no rows are repeating. So we can say that this table is in 1NF. So these are the conditions for one NF. There should be a primary key. What is meant by primary key? The value of that column should be unique. Okay, so this is our primary key. Flight ID is the primary key. We have only one value, so of course it will be unique. And if you take each column has single value. That means flight ID has only one value, pilot ID has only one value, pilot name has only one value, origin only one value, destination only one value. Okay, so these are the conditions that we need to check for one NF. It must have a primary key and each column has single value. Then what happened with the other columns in the original table? Here we have the remaining columns here: passenger ID, passenger name, passenger nationality, and seat number. So we need to add these columns in another table along with the flight ID, because we have to know these passengers are these passengers belong to which flight. Okay, that's why here we are taking flight ID along with these columns. Okay, so that will be the second table. So here you can see, here we have flight ID and passenger ID, then passenger name, passenger nationality, and seat number. And here uh, we need to decide what is the primary key. So if I choose only flight ID, here you can see the values are repeating. So I cannot choose flight ID because the values are not unique. So we will take the combination of these two columns. Okay, flight ID and passenger ID. So here you can see the value of flight ID and passenger ID is OM234 and PR1. And here OM234 and PR5. Here OM234 and PR6. So all the rows are not repeated. That means these values, the combination of these values are unique. So we can consider the combination of flight ID and passenger ID as the primary key. Do you understand why we choose the combination of flight ID with the passenger ID as the primary key?
Why can't we use only the passenger ID? Isn't it unique?
We have to identify the flight also, because if you choose passenger ID, we can only determine the passengers, but we have to know the passenger belonging to which flight. Okay?
Aren't they all belong to the same flights?
Yes. Here you can see the flight ID for all these passengers is OM234, which means that all they belong to the same flight. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and one more thing. Here, this is the original table. We divided the original table into two tables, like table 1, this is our table 1, and this is table 2. So, now we divided it. If you want to join them again, of course, we need flight ID in both the tables. We already learned before, if you want to join two tables, there should be a common column. So if you look at table 1, we have flight ID. And in table 2, of course, we need flight ID. Then only we can join these two tables. Okay?
So for
Okay.
them to be related, there must be this column.
Yes. So this is one thing. And another thing that you need to understand here, here in table 1, flight ID, it is the primary key. Okay. And table 1 and table 2, they are related. So to represent the relationship, here we added flight ID. So in table 2, flight ID will be the foreign key. Why it is foreign key? Because flight ID, it is the column of table 1. We took flight ID from table 1 and we put it into table 2, so that flight ID will be foreign key in table 2. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, miss.
Okay, so here there is a question in B. For each table, you have to write the primary key and foreign key. So in table 1, the primary key is flight ID, but there is no foreign key. So you can leave blank as the foreign key for table 1. But when you come to table 2, the primary key is the combination of flight ID and passenger ID, and the foreign key is flight ID. Clear?
Yes.
Clear.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so now we have two tables in first normal form. If you check these two tables, we can say that both tables are in 1NF. What are the conditions that 1NF need to satisfy? There should be a
No
primary
repeated values and primary key exists.
there should be a primary key in both the table, in each table, and each column must have only one value. So if you take any column in these two tables, each column has single value. It doesn't have a group of values. Okay. So both tables are following the conditions of 1NF. So we can say that both tables are in 1NF. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you
Now-
elaborate on the second rule?
The second table or second
No, the second rule that it should have only one value. Can you explain it a little bit further?
okay, because if you take this flight ID column here, each column has only one value. If you take passenger ID, it has only one value, and if it is passenger name, only one value in each column. In some tables, for example, let's say PR1 and PR6. So here in passenger ID column, I have two values in one column. So if you have a group of values in one column, it is not in 1NF. Do you understand?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so these are the conditions that need to be followed for 1NF. Okay. Now we are going to check whether these two tables are in 2NF. In order to know whether the tables are in 2NF, there are two conditions. First, it should be in 1NF. So of course they are in 1NF, and if the primary key has only one column, then we can say that it is in 2NF. Okay, so look here. In table 1, the primary key has only one column. So no need to check for anything. You can say that table 1, it is in 2NF. Okay, so this is in 2NF. Now in table 2, here the primary key has a composite key. What is meant by composite key is that it has more than one column. As primary key, here we have two columns. Let's say flight ID and passenger ID. Here we have two columns. So if you have two columns, then you have to check whether there is a partial dependency between primary key and non-primary key. I will repeat. Listen carefully. Uh, so our primary key is flight ID and passenger ID. And what we are checking any non-primary key column. Let's say this is a non-primary key column. Passenger nationality is a non-primary key column. And seat number is a non-primary key column. So we are checking passenger name is depending on any part of the primary key, which means that passenger name is depending on passenger ID alone, or passenger nationality is depending on passenger ID alone, then it is not in 2NF. Do you understand? Okay, I will write it here. Passenger ID determines passenger name. Here we are checking whether such a dependency is there in the table. What is meant by dependency? Here this is a dependency, which means that, okay, I'm going to write it here. What are the values of passenger ID? PR1, here PR5, then here we have PR6. Then what are the values? PR1, the name of PR1, Muhammad, and PR5, Said, and PR6, Maryam. So here you can see it is a dependency. Why it is a dependency? What is meant by dependency is that each value of passenger ID is related with only one value of passenger name. Okay, PR1 is only related with Muhammad, PR5 is only related with Said, and PR6 is only related with Maryam. Okay, for example, here if I write one more row, let's say PR1 Ahmad. So it is not a dependency because PR1 is related with two values. Okay, PR1 is related with Muhammad and PR1 is related with Ahmad. So it is not a functional dependency. But in this case, in this table, we don't have this row. So we can say that each value of a passenger ID is related with only one value of passenger name. So it is a functional dependency. Do you understand what is meant by functional dependency?
So if there was a
Yes.
functional dependency, it's not in the second form.
No, this is not like that. Here you can see passenger, what is the primary key of table 2? The primary key of table 2 is flight ID and passenger ID, right?
Yes.
This is the primary key. Okay, so here you can know that passenger ID, it is a part of the primary key, right?
Yes.
Okay, so a non-primary key column. Here passenger name is a non-primary key column. So if a non-primary key column depends on a part of the primary key, this is called partial dependency. Do you understand what is meant by partial dependency?
Yes.
Okay, if there is a partial dependency between primary key and non-primary key, or in other words, if a non-primary key column is depending on a part of the primary key, then we can say that the table is not in second normal form. Clear?
So because in the flight ID, all of them depend on the same one, so it doesn't work.
Okay, wait a minute. Here, when we started the question, here they already provided that seat number is depending on both flight ID and passenger ID. And I wrote here, this is seat number, and seat number is depending on both of these columns. So if you remember, flight ID and passenger ID is our primary key. So here seat number is the non-primary key in that table. So seat number is depending completely on the primary key, not on a part of the primary key. So if seat number is depending on completely on the primary key, then this is fine, or this is following the condition of 2NF. But the other two columns in this table, okay, here we have passenger name and here we have passenger nationality. So these two columns is not completely depending on the primary key. The column passenger name, the column passenger nationality depending on a part of the primary key. So if any non-primary key column depends on part of the primary key, then this is called partial dependency. If there is a partial dependency, the table is not in second normal form. Clear?
So just as a conclusion, they mention when it depends on both of them. But if they did not mention, that means it's partially.
They did not mention what?
If they did not mention in the question that it depends on both of the primary key, so this means that it's partial.
It is mentioned that seat number is depending on both the flight ID and passenger ID. So no need to
Yes.
check for this column. But we have to check for passenger name column and passenger nationality column. So we already checked the passenger name and we found that passenger name is depending on passenger ID, which means that passenger name is depending on a part of the primary key. Clear?
Okay. Yes.
So, yes?
I have a question.
Mm.
How can I know this specific foreign key is only depend in this part of the primary key? I am facing a problem in this.
Because if you have to check the values. So what is meant by dependency? If one value of passenger ID is related with only one value of passenger name, then you can know that this is a dependency. Here PR1 is related with only Muhammad, PR5 is only related with Said, PR6 is only related with Mariam. So each value of passenger ID is related with only one value of passenger name. So it is a dependency. That means it is not depending on both of these columns. Here you can see passenger name is depending on passenger ID and passenger ID is a part of the primary key. Clear? Somewhat clear?
What about the passenger nationality?
Okay, if you find one, then no need to check for others, but for you, I will explain with the passenger nationality. So what we are checking, whether there is a dependency between passenger ID and passenger nationality. Passenger ID and passenger nationality. So here PR1, the nationality of the passenger is Oman, and PR5, the passenger belongs to Bahrain, and PR6, passenger belongs to Bahrain. So here you can see PR1 is only related with Oman, PR5 is only related with Bahrain, PR6 is only related with Bahrain. So it is a functional dependency. If PR1 is related with the two countries, or PR5 is related with the two countries, or PR6 is related with the two different countries, then it is not a dependency. But here you can see each passenger is related with only one nationality or only one country. So we can say that it is a functional dependency. Again, passenger nationality is depending on passenger ID, and passenger ID is just a part of the primary key. Okay, so in this case, again, it is a partial dependency. So because of this partial dependency, this table is not in the second normal form. I hope you understood something, right?
Yes.
No worries.
Yes.
When you practice more questions, you can easily understand. Okay. So now we found two violations. What are the two violations? Here, passenger ID determines passenger name, and here passenger ID determines passenger nationality. So these are the two violations. So we need to remove these columns from the original table, from table 2, to make table 2 into second NF. Okay, so let's see what we are going to do here. So before that, listen, here in the first normal form we have two tables, table 1 and table 2, and I told you table 1 it is in second normal form because here the primary key has only one attribute. If it has only one attribute, no need to check whether there is a partial dependency, because it doesn't have parts. If the primary key doesn't have parts, then no need to check for partial dependency. So you can say that table 1 is in second normal form. Do you understand? What you need to check here, if the primary key has only one column, then you can say that it is in second normal form. No need to check for anything. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, that's why here you can see under the second normal form, they wrote the table 1 as it is. Here FID, PID, PName, origin and destination. And because here we have only one column as the attribute, as the primary key. So no need to check for partial dependency. This table, it is in second normal form. And table 2, because it has a composite key, we already found out there is partial dependency. There are two partial dependency. So to remove these partial dependency, we need to divide table 2 into two tables. Okay. So here, how we will divide the table into two tables? Can you tell me?
One that depends on the passenger ID, which has passenger name and passenger nationality.
Yes. If you look at the first dependency, it is passenger ID determines passenger name. And if you look at the second one, passenger ID determines passenger nationality. So these columns, passenger ID, passenger name, passenger nationality, these columns will be in one table, and except passenger name and passenger nationality, all the other columns will be in the other table. Okay, so this is what you can see here. Look at table number 3. This is table number 3. Then passenger ID, passenger name, passenger nationality. These columns are in one table, and the other columns, except passenger name and passenger nationality, they are in the other table. Flight ID, passenger ID, and seat number. They were the remaining columns. So those columns are in the other table. Now, Are they in second normal form? Okay, first we are going to check whether table 2, this is table 2, whether it is in second normal form. In the question, it is already given that seat number, it is depending on both the columns. Okay, so if it is depending on both the columns, then no need, it is not a partial dependency. So it is given that flight ID, comma, passenger ID determines seat number. So from where I got it? From the question. It is already given in the question. So seat number is completely dependent on these two columns. It is given in the question. So here, no need to check for anything. I can say that it is in second normal form. Then, what about table 3? In table 3, here you can see we choose a passenger ID as the primary key because the values are unique. And here we have only one column as the primary key. So no need to check for partial dependency. There will be no partial dependencies here because the primary key has only one column. Okay. So here only dependencies that we can that we have, passenger ID determines passenger name, and passenger ID determines passenger nationality. Okay. So here also we can say that here in the left hand side we have only one column. So passenger name is completely dependent on this column, and passenger nationality is completely dependent on passenger ID. Whenever the problem of partial dependency, here if you have one more or if you have more columns in the left hand side, but here we don't have more columns in the left hand side, so we cannot make any partial dependency. If you cannot make any partial dependency, then we can say that the table is in second normal form. So this table, it is also in second normal form. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes, Miss.
For all of you?
Yes.
Doctor.
Okay, if any of you cannot understand, please type no in the chat. Ali, you put a dot. What it means? You understood or not understood? Or maybe you put earlier, not now. So nobody typed no. So I hope you all understood. No problem. If just revise, and if you cannot understand, you can ask me in the next support session. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so now we need to know what is meant by third normal form. So what is meant by third normal form? It is based on another type of dependency that is called transitive dependency. So what is meant by transitive dependency is that here, if we have a dependency, let's say A determines B and B determines C. If these two dependencies are there in the table, then we can make or we can derive a dependency that is A determines C. Look, here in the right hand side we have B, and in the left hand side we have B. They are common, so you will cancel them, and what we remains, here we have A and here we have C. So this is the one that we are deriving or that we are creating, which means that C is transitively dependent on A. C is not directly depending on A. C is transitively dependent on A. So if you can make such a dependency, or if you can make a transitive dependency between, consider A is the primary key and C is the non-primary key. That means if there is a transitive dependency between primary key and non-primary key, then the table is not in third normal form. Do you understand?
Can you please give us an example?
Okay, so here you can see this is the okay, let's take the first table, because we are checking the tables in the second normal form, and we have to check whether it is whether the tables are in third normal form or not. So in the second normal form, this is the first table. So here we are checking whether there is a transitive dependency. Okay, I will explain here. The primary key is flight ID. Okay, so flight ID, if you know the flight ID, then I can find out the pilot ID. Then if you know the pilot ID, then I can find out the pilot name. Okay, just look at the dependencies that I wrote here. Here we have flight ID and here we have pilot ID. So in the right hand side we have pilot ID. In the second one we have pilot ID in the left hand side. So they are the commons. What we remains?
Flight
Flight
ID and the
ID
pilot
and
name.
Pilot name. Okay, so this is the transitive dependency. Flight ID determines pilot name. So what is flight ID? Flight ID is the primary key. And what is pilot name? It is the non-primary key. So if there is a transitive dependency between primary key and non-primary key, the table is not in third normal form. This table, it is not in third normal form. Because of this dependency, pilot ID determines pilot name. So what we need to do, we need to divide the table into two tables. Okay, so here they already divided. Here you can see, if you check the second table here, here we have pilot ID and pilot name. Here I already explained what is the dependency which violates the rule. Pilot ID determines pilot name. So these two columns are in the other table except pilot name. That means whatever we have in the right hand side of the dependency, we will remove it. All the other columns will be in the other table. Okay, so look here, this was the original table. So we will not choose pilot name. Other than pilot name, all the other four columns will be in the other table. Flight ID, pilot ID, origin and destination. Okay, so this is what you can see here. Flight ID, pilot ID, origin and destination. Okay, so now we can say that these two tables are in third normal form because we cannot find a transitive dependency here because this was the transitive dependency. If you remember, flight ID determines passenger name. So this transitive dependency is not there. Okay, so we can make sure that these two tables are in third normal form. Okay, now we are moving to the next table. So this is the next table: flight ID, passenger ID, and seat number. So we will consider this as the key, the primary key, because it is underlined. Then here we have only one more column. Okay, so this is in the left hand side and this is in the right hand side. Okay, so can we make a transitive dependency here?
No.
Because to
No, we
make a
can't.
transitive dependency, we need three separate columns. Three separate column means that here we will consider this as one column. Why? Because it is the primary key. Okay, so I can write like this. Okay, let me remove. Okay, so here we have flight ID, then we have passenger ID, determines seat number. This is the only one dependency which is existing in this table. So we cannot write one more. If you can write one more by seat number determines something, then there is a chance to make a transitive dependency. But I cannot make this dependency here in this table because in this table I can write only this one. We can create only one dependency, so we cannot make a transitive dependency. And if you cannot make a transitive dependency, I can say that this table it is in third normal form. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, now we are moving to the next table, that is passenger ID, passenger name, and passenger nationality. So can we make a transitive dependency here?
Yes.
Which one?
The passenger ID and passenger name, and the passenger name could determine the passenger nationality.
Okay, let's check. Okay, here I can write passenger ID determines passenger name. And as you said, can I make a dependency from passenger name to passenger nationality? So here we have the several names, okay? So if you know the name of a person, can we find out their nationality? For example, in this table, it's okay. Uh, but in general, if you have a name, if you have one name, can we find out their nationality?
No.
In general, it might be a stated
No.
name, so no, but
No,
I
no,
meant
because several persons can have the same name, right?
yes.
Okay, so generally we will not consider a name as a key, or we will not consider this, or in this case, it is not a dependency, okay, because many persons can have the same name. So by name, we cannot determine their country, or by name, we cannot determine anything. So it is not a dependency. So if it is not a dependency, here we cannot make a transitive dependency. This one is okay. Passenger ID determines passenger name is okay. But by passenger name, you cannot make another dependency. So we here in this table, we cannot make a transitive dependency. So we can say that this table, it is also in third normal form. Clear?
Yes.
So here what we did, the first table, this table we divided into two tables, and the other two tables, they will remain as it is. That means here we have two tables and the two other tables. So there are four tables in the third normal form. Okay. So what we need next, here we have to write the table name like flight, pilot, passenger seat, passenger. You can give any suitable name for the table, and then you have to write the primary key of each table, and then you have to write the foreign key. So look here, here in the first table, the primary key is flight ID, and actually here there is no foreign key. And here in this table, passenger ID is the primary key. Here we have primary key is flight ID and passenger ID. It is the combination of flight ID and passenger ID. And the foreign key for this table, flight ID we took from this flight table, and passenger ID we took from the passenger ID table. So we can say that it is a foreign key, and this is also a foreign key. So here primary key is same as the foreign key. Clear? Do you understand?
Doctor, we also took the pilot ID from the table before, so is it considered a foreign key and a primary key as well?
Which table?
From the first table, there is pilot ID. In the second table, also there is pilot ID.
Yeah. We will consider pilot ID as the foreign key from the table flight. Okay. Okay. Yes, clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And here we have the table passenger, and the primary key is passenger ID, and here there is no foreign key. This is what you can see here. From the flight table, yes, the primary key is flight ID, the foreign key is pilot ID. In the pilot table, we have only primary key, there is no foreign key. And here we have, this is the primary key and they are the foreign key. In the passenger table, the primary key is passenger ID, and here there is no foreign key. Clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Doctor, why
I
did
have
you
a,
write the
I have a
passenger
problem with
ID?
the foreign key.
Okay. What is meant by foreign key is that if you take the primary key from another table, and if you add that key in a different table, in that table it will be a foreign key. Okay, just I will explain. Look here. Okay, just I will erase everything to make it more clear. Okay, here we have a table called flight and pilot and here we have passenger seat, and here we have passenger. Okay, so now in the table flight ID is there. So flight ID is the it is the primary key because it is underlined from the beginning. So flight ID is the primary key, but this pilot ID we took actually pilot ID from this table. In the table pilot we have pilot ID and pilot name. So what we did, we took this primary key from the pilot table and we added it in the flight table. So in the flight table, pilot ID is the foreign key because it is the primary key of pilot. Clear? Okay,
Yeah.
let's take another example. Here we have passenger table. In the passenger table, the columns of the passenger tables are passenger ID, passenger name, and passenger nationality. So here the primary key is passenger ID. If you take passenger ID from this table and if you add passenger ID in any other table, then in that table passenger ID will be the foreign key. So look, here we have passenger seat and here there is passenger ID. But actually passenger ID belongs to which table? Passenger ID is the column of passenger table. But we took passenger ID from the passenger table and we added here in this table. So in this table, it will be the foreign key. Similarly, here we have flight ID. From where we got flight ID? We got flight ID from the flight table. So here, flight ID is the foreign key here. Okay. So if you look at this table, both these columns are underlined, which means that this is a primary key here. At the same time, flight ID is a foreign key here and passenger ID is a foreign key here. Do you understand?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. Thank you,
Oh.
Miss.
Okay, so this is all about normalization. And we have one more question here, that is the writing SQL statement. Do you want me to explain it today or next session?
I guess today.
Today.
For all of you. Okay. Okay, so look at the question 3. Consider the airline reservation database schema. Database schema means that the structure of the database. And here in this database, in the airline reservation database, there are different tables. We have passenger table, reservation table, and flight table. That's it. There are 3 tables. Passenger, the details of the passengers are stored here, like ID of the passenger, the first name of the passenger, the last name of the passenger, and email of the passenger. So the details of the passengers are there in the passenger table, and passenger ID is underlined, which means that that is the primary key of the table. Then if you go to the reservation table, the details of the reservation is stored here, like reservation ID, then passenger ID. We have to know which passenger reserved. We have to know which flight they reserved, the date of the reservation, and the status of the reservation. Okay, so the details of the reservation, it is there in the reservation table, and here the primary key is the combination of the reservation ID and the passenger ID. Then the last table, the flight table, the details of the flight, it is stored in the flight table, like flight ID, the airline code, origin airport code, destination airport code, uh, departure date time, and arrival date time. So the details of the flights, it is there in the flight table. Okay, and flight ID is the primary key. Okay, so these are the given details. And the questions are, use the above airline reservation schema and write SQL queries for the following. List flight ID and destination airport code of all the flight flying from origin airport code DXP. So what you are asking, we need to print the flight ID. Also, we need to print the destination airport code. If the flights are flying from the origin airport code DXP. Okay. So what first thing that you need to check, in which table we have all the details, the flight ID, the destination airport code, then the origin airport code. Where we have, in which table we have all these details, flight ID, destination airport code, and origin airport code. If you look at the flight table, here you have flight ID, and here we have origin airport code, and here you have destination airport code. So all the details are there in this table. Okay. So what we need to print? We need to print flight ID. Also, we need to print the destination airport code, and we have to check if the origin airport code is DXB. Okay. So we found that we can get all the details from this table. So first we can write the select statement. So select. We need to get flight ID. So write the column name flight underscore ID. Then what we need, destination airport code. So write the column name as it is in they given. So destination underscore airport underscore code. So we can get these details from which table?
Flight.
Flight table. So you
Flight.
need to write the name of the table after the from clause. So look, along with the select, what I wrote, the name of the columns, flight ID and destination airport code. Then we wrote the from clause. Along with the from, we wrote the name of the table. Then we have to write a condition. What is the condition that they given in the question?
Where?
To write the condition, we have to write the where clause. And here I have to write where origin airport code equals DXB. So use in quotation and then write DXB. Okay, either use single quotation or double quotation. So this is the corresponding SQL statement. So first read the question and then check from which table you can get all the details. Then write the select. Along with the select, you need to write what are the columns that you need to print. Then write the from. Along with the from, you can write the name of the table. Then if there is a condition, you have to write where. And along with where, you need to write the condition. Clear?
Yes.
Okay, now we will move to the next question. Here you can see list the name and reservation status of the passengers who reserved in the flight with ID 101. Sort the results in ascending order of passengers' first name. Again, what we need? We need the name of the passenger. We need the reservation status of the passenger. And here they provided the flight ID. Okay. Again, arrange the table in the order of first name. So we need first name of the passenger, the reservation status of the passenger, and the flight ID. From which table we can get all these? If you look the reservation table,
Passenger.
yeah, here we have passenger ID, and here we have flight ID, and here we have reservation status. But they are asking you to print passenger name. But in this table, we don't have passenger name. So here in the passenger table, we have first name of the passenger. So what it means, we need these two tables, which means that we have to join these two tables. So as I told you before, in order to join two tables, there should be a common column. So uh, here we have passenger ID and here we have passenger ID. There is a common column in these two tables. If there is a common column, then you can join. Then we can get all the required details. We can get the name, we can get the reservation status, and also there is flight ID. Okay, so we are going to use these two tables. Okay, so what they are asking you, the name and reservation status. Okay, so here we need to write the select statement. Select. Then what we need the first name. So write first name. I'm not sure there is an underscore. Oh, yes. Okay, so here you need to put underscore. Then what we need, reservation status. So you need to write the next column, reservation underscore status. Then we are going to write from. Here we are using two tables. So we are using the passenger table. So first write the name of the table, passenger, put a comma. Then we need to write the second table. So the second table is reservation. So we wrote two tables along with the from clause. Then we need to write the where clause. Here we have to write the join condition. What is meant by join condition? I told you, to join two tables, there should be a common column. So here we have a common column, that is passenger ID. Passenger ID column is there in both the table. So if the values of this passenger ID are equal in both the table, then the corresponding rows will be joined together. Okay, so this is what I am going to write here. So here this is how we write the join condition. First you need to write the name of the table, passenger dot passenger ID, passenger underscore ID equals, the next table is reservation. So reservation dot passenger ID. What it means, if the value of the passenger ID in both the table are same, those rows can be joined together. And for those rows, what we need the first name and we need the reservation status. Okay. Then look at the question. There is one more condition. If the flight ID is 101. So here we have one more condition that we need to write along with where. So if there are multiple conditions, the condition can be joined together by using the AND operator. Okay. So the next condition that I'm going to write, flight ID equal to 101. So we completed the conditions and we completed the where clause. Now sort the results in ascending order of passenger first name. So we need to arrange the output by first name. So if you want to give an order, we can use a clause called order by. After where you can write order by, based on what column? By the first name column. So here you have to write order by first name. Okay, so it will be in ascending order. Do you understand?
What
Yes,
if it was
miss.
in the descending
Yes.
order?
What you asked?
If it was in the descending order, not the ascending order.
So here after order by, here we wrote first name and then you need to specify the order, DESC. So that means it will be arranged in descending order. By default, it will be arranged in ascending order. That's why we didn't write the name of the order. If you want, you can write ASC. So it will be in ascending order, but no need because it will be in, it is the default order. So even if you do not write, the rows will be in ascending order. Clear?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now,
Yes.
look at the next question. Change the email of the passenger with the ID3 to ahmed@gmail.com. So, we need the email address and also we need the passenger ID column, the email column and the passenger ID column. So, which table we have it? In the passenger table. Here we have passenger ID and here we have email. So they are asking you to update the email of one row. So listen, if you want to update a column value, then we need to write an update statement. Okay, so far we were writing select statement, but here we are writing an update statement because here we are going to update the value within a table. So after update, we need to write the name of the table. What is the name of the table? What is the name of the table?
Passenger.
Passenger.
Passenger. So this is the first statement, update passenger. Okay. Then what we are going to change, here in the question they told you to change the email address of one person or one passenger. So before we write the column name, this is the column that we are going to change. So before that we need to use a keyword called set. Then here write the column name, set email equals, what is the new email? The new email is ahmed@gmail.com. gmail.com. For which person? They provided the condition. If you look here, you can see change the email of the passenger ID 3 to ahmed@gmail.com. Okay, so this is the new email address. And for which passenger? for the passenger ID 3. So we need to write the condition. If you do not write the condition, all the email addresses of that table will be updated to ahmed@gmail.com. So we need to update only for one passenger. So we have to write the condition. The condition is passenger ID equal to 3. Okay. So this is what you need to write. First you have to write update. Then you need to write the name of the table. Then you have to write the keyword set and then write the column name. The column name is email. Then write the new value of the email. Then write the condition for which passenger we need to change the email address. So the passenger ID is 3. So we wrote this along with the where clause. Clear?
Doctor, I have a question.
Yes.
Yes.
For the previous question, we did passenger ID equals, I think, reservation ID. Something like that. The point is, why can't we use join? Like there is the join statement thing.
Yeah, here what I did, I put a comma here and then I wrote the where clause. If you want to write a join statement, don't put comma. Instead of comma, here you need to write the join statement. Okay. And if you write join, we are not allowed to write where in order to write the join condition. So here what I need to write on.
On.
And then here there is another condition, flight ID equal to 101. So don't write and here. Instead of and, here you have to write where. Because the conditions need to be written with the where clause. But here we wrote the on clause. So here, to write the join statement, you have to write on. And to write this condition, we need to write the where clause. Okay, both are correct. Either you can use the previous way or you can use this way. Okay. Do you understand? Where is she?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, miss.
Okay. So now we will go to the next question. Remove the flight whose ID is 102. So we need to remove a flight from the flight table. So this is the flight table and we have to remove a flight. So if you want to remove a row, we need to write a delete statement. So delete. Then you have to write the from clause. Then after from, you need to write the name of the table. So here the name of the table is flight.
Flight.
So yes, but if you just write delete from flight, all the rows will be deleted. But here we need to delete only one particular row or one flight. So we have to write the where condition. So here they provided the flight ID. So you need to write flight underscore ID. This is equal to 102. So only that flight will be deleted. Okay. So you have to write delete, then from, then you need to write the name of the table, then write the where clause, then write the condition. Flight ID equal to 102. Remove the flight whose ID is 102. Okay. Now we have one more question. Display each flight ID and the corresponding number of passengers in the following format. Okay. Just I will to make it clear. Here what we need to print, as you can see here, we need a table format. We need flight ID as the first column and the second column as number of passengers. Okay, for example, 101, the number of passengers, let's say 50. And the next flight 102 and the number of passengers, let's say 75. So like that, we need to get a table format. So this is what they need. Display each flight ID and the corresponding number of passenger in the following format. Count only the number of passengers whose reservation status is confirmed. So we need flight ID. Then we need to use a function to count the number of passenger. If you want to count something, we can use this count function. So we need to use the count function. Then we need flight ID and also we need the reservation status. So we have to check from which table we can get all these, the passenger ID and the reservation status. Okay. If you come here, you can see in the reservation table, we have the passenger ID and here we have the reservation status. So we can use the reservation table. Okay. So now we are going to write select. Then we need the flight ID. So select flight underscore ID. Then we need the count of passengers in each flight. Okay. So before that, yes, flight ID. The name of the column should be like this. So here, if you want to to give a column name for output, we can use a keyword as. Then this here after as, you need to write the name of the column. So flight underscore ID. So here no need for comma. After that, you need to write the count function. So count, what we are counting? We are counting the passengers. So here you need to apply the count function for the passenger ID column. Okay, so passenger ID, and we need to rename it. So I think it is number of passengers. I'm using the short form because I don't have space here. Number of passengers. Okay, I will write it in detail. Okay, passengers. From which table? From the reservation table. So here you can write from reservation. And then we need to write a where clause because they said the reservation status is, what is the value of reservation status?
Confirmed.
Confirmed, yes. So here where reservation underscore status equal to confirmed. And for each flight, here they mentioned for each flight, if you have a word for, this is an indication that you have to use group by. Okay, so here after where we need to write a group by statement, and we will group the table based on the flight ID. Okay, so here after group by, you need to write the column name as flight underscore ID. Then only you will get the number of passengers for each flight. Okay, so what we did, we wrote the select. Along with the select, we took flight ID and also we applied the count function for passenger ID, and with the help of keyword as, we renamed the column. Then along with the from, we wrote the name of the table, and then we wrote the where condition. What is the where condition? Reservation status is confirmed, and then we wrote a group by. So if you want to group the table based on the value of flight ID, then we have to apply the group by clause. Okay, so I think it's I can show you here. Yes, select flight ID as flight ID, then count of passenger ID as number of passengers from reservation, where reservation status is confirmed, and group by flight ID. Do you understand?
Yes,
Yes.
miss.
Okay, any doubts?
Yes.
Okay, so here there are two more short essay questions. Uh, you need to learn these type of short essay questions also. And Shahad, if you want to check a condition for a group, then we have to use having. Okay, here we need to check the condition for every row. That means we need to check the reservation status of each passenger. That means we need to check the status of each row. Then we need to use there. But if you want to check the condition for a group, for each group in the table, then we need to use the having clause. Clear?
Doctor,
Yes.
in the essay questions, can we write it from like our understanding and using our own words?
You can write, but the point should be correct.
So we're not like restricted to what's in the slides.
No need to use exactly the same words of the slides. Try to understand the concept, and then you can write by using your own words.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So if you don't have any question, I will stop here. Yes, I already posted the previous recorded sessions on LMS. It is in each unit we have VC links. So go to unit 1 and then check VC links. Under VC links, you can see the recorded session. So the first recorded session within unit 1, the second recorded session under unit 2, and the third recorded session unit 3, like that. Okay, because we have a rule that we need to post like that. That's why it is posted like that. So you can search within each unit under VC links. Yes, Khalid.
Okay, Doctor, for the slides you were showing us in the lecture, can we get it, please?
Yeah. I can share in the chat. Plus, I can share it in the on LMS, maybe under announcements. Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Where statement or having statement. 1 minute. Let me.
Doctor, we will have a quiz this week.
No. Okay. The one that I explained now, I shared here. Okay.
Thank you,
And
Doctor.
okay. Shahad, I already explained. If you want to search a condition for each row, then you need to write where. If you want to search a condition for each group, then you have to use having. Okay? Clear?
Doctor, the next quiz will be about SQL, right?
Yes, it is about SQL, and it will be after the midterm. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Rinat. If you want to search a condition for each row, you have to use where. If you want to apply a condition for each group in the table, you have to use having. Yes. Lama.
Doctor, when will be the TMA submission date?
It is during the period of November 18 to 20. The exact date will be informed later, but it can be either on 18th of November or 19th of November or 20th of November. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Is
So
the
can we?
TMA on LMS published already?
No, it is not published yet. I didn't receive it from the GCC yet. So once I received, I will post on LMS. For the midterm, part 1 up to part 10, part 7 is not included. Okay, so I hope we can leave now.
Yeah, please save the recording if possible.
Yeah, I will post because it once I end the meeting, it will take some time to show in the window. So once I, hopefully by the end of today, because I have another class after some time. So by tonight or by tomorrow morning, I can post. Okay.
Thank you.
Miss
Okay.
Technic. Thank you, Miss.
Okay, you are welcome.